Hi folks, in today's video tutorials I'd like to show you how to create cube in 17 different ways. Question: why cube? Because if you imagine on the cube you can explain almost everything about the math and parametrics. What does it mean? If you would like to speak with your colleague and you would like to explain to him what does it mean surface or edge or vertex or datum planes, datum features, or for example if your colleague would like to create whole chamfer draft feature or something, you can always create a cube. But in today's video tutorials I'd like to focus on the features from Creo Parametric 4.0, and I will mix almost every feature what have you learned from my video tutorials, and maybe you will learn something more. It will be some standard ways of generation of 3D model, and sometimes it will be maybe some advantage for you, or what is the possibility to create with Creo Parametric 4.0. So I'd like to start from scratch. So it was only example that we can create really easy shape. Yeah. Okay. So if we would like to start from scratch, we need to create new 3D model and we can set the name. Yeah, for example, cube. The system will start with default coordinate systems and 3 datum planes. You can set the visualization of your 3D models directly from the menu and we can start. The first cube will be created in standard way by extrude feature. So in this video tutorials, I'd like to focus on the cube, and the dimension will be almost every time about 150 millimeters. Yeah. So for example, we can create the symmetrical rectangle, and we can set value 150. Yeah. And if you confirm, you can. If you finish the middle button, you need to select the definition here, sorry. And I like to select the depth for my cube and specification to symmetric. Okay, so it was the base feature if you need to create cube or extrude feature, yeah? And you can right now ask me and how you would like to create another 16 ways how to create a cube. Okay, so let's do it and continue. I will delete the created features. I don't want to create always new cube and another name and so on. So I will delete my features from the model tree. I will use the Ctrl D to default orientation of my 3D model. And the second example will be looks like this. I like to create only sketch, and this sketch will be only straight line directly in the middle, and the height will be 150. If you imagine right now, we can create and use the sweep feature, and the system will automatically select the trajectory, and in the sketch I like to create again symmetric rectangle, and right now you know that dimension will be again 150. Okay, so right now you can have a look here. It looks that is the cube. By in the model tree we don't have an extrude feature, we have one sketch and sweep feature. So it was a second example that is possible to create cube by sweep feature. Here is the question: if this create the similar sweep feature or something different. Okay, so we can continue, and another type of this creation or modification will be I will create new sketch, and in the sketch I will use the symmetric rectangle, same dimensions. And if I finish, you can have a look here that I just create only base shape. And this shape we can reuse for the sweep. Yeah. And origin, it will be whole curve. I will use the sweep as surface because we would like to learn more and we would like to learn how to create solid model or surface model. And at the end, always I will finish like solid model. Okay, so let's continue. In the sketch, I will create lines and it will be looks like this. And you know that this dimension has to be divided by 2 and height of the cube will be 150 again. So this is my sketch, like you profile. And if you imagine that if I will finish it, the system will go around with this shape around the base curve and we have a cube. But be careful. Have a look here. You can see that this model is in different color and is defined by surface model. So if you have a look here, you have a drop down menu and you can use the quilt and select the quilt, and then you can use the icon directly from the ribbon or from the right mouse button and use the solidify. It means that system will transform the surface model to solid model. And if your model is changed, the color was changed, yeah, right now it's a surface model and right now it's a solid model. So it's mean that we have another options or possibility how to create a cube. So let's continue, and we would like to create 2 sketches. So I will delete that one, this profile, and I would like to make a pattern of existing sketch. And where we would like to pattern, we would like to go up or down. So I can use the direction pattern and select the references and set some value. Good. So if you imagine right now, we have 2 sketches, and what we can do, we can use and create boundary blend. So for guys who create a boundary blend knows that it's possible to create boundary blend really easy. You can select the 2 chains and the system will create and close it. Yeah, right now it looks good. And then we can continue on the top surface, but you don't want to use and select whole curve or whole change. So I will remove it, and you can select right mouse button. The system will select only one curve, and then hold down the control button and again left and right, and system will select the curve. And over here in the menu you can see that you have 2 curves. So it was good. And another possibility, or I will do it same. So create a boundary, select right and left. The system will select the first curve, control button, and right, left. But what now? You can have a look here that we have 3 different quilts. So I will select filter quilts and I will continue and select control button. And you can see here that system automatically recognize that I can use the merge. So you can use the merge from flyout menu or again from base model ribbon. And if you will finish, the system will create 1 quilt, and again at the end we have to use the solidify if we would like to transform this cube to solid model. So again, you can have a look here that we have another possibility how to create a cube, and it was a combination with 2 sketches and boundary blends. Let's continue. Okay, I've deleted everything and we would like to start and continue one more time. The another options will be create 1 curve and make a pattern of this curve. So let's do it. If we would like to create a curve, we can select the sketch, but I would like to create offset datum planes. So you can have a look here that you will learn more and more feature again in my video tutorial. And if you would like to create a plane and we would like to offset this plane, and you know that we need to offset this plane by 75 millimeters or 150 divided by 2. You can directly create it. And in the sketch we will create only one straight line. Yep. And you know again that we need to change some dimensions here. So offset of the curve will be 75 and the height of the curve will be 150, because this is our side or size for our cube. What the system create for me? The system create for me one curve. And this curve we would like to create a pattern around this middle coordinate system. And best practice is, if you create axis between two datum planes, and you can have a look here, we have a curve and we have an axis. What is necessary? The axis has to be created first, so you can move this information directly in model tree, and if your system read the information from top to bottom, at the beginning was created axis and later was created our curve. And that curve we would like to pattern, and how? I would like to pattern around axis. So you can see that system automatically create 4 curve, and it will be spin it every 90 degree 4 times. Yeah. So we have 4 curves, and what we can do again, we would like to create some boundary blends. So let's do it. And so I will select the first one, and then I will continue, and it will be a couple of boundary blends here. Is no problem. Yeah, and again over here and on the bottom. No problem. You can do it really quickly. And what is necessary to do, it's create a merge of that surfaces. So you can select the information directly from model tree. And sorry, it was really quick. You can select the information from the model tree, use the merge feature. In the reference tab, you can have a look here how the system select the quilts. And if you confirm, you know that right now it's a one quilt, and that one quilt it's the possible to create and convert a solid model. So only select solidify, and again we have different type of the creation, the cube. Okay, so let's go and continue. We don't care about the existing feature. I like to use again only default information. In another example, I'd like to show you how you can mirror the existing geometry. So I will create only small feature. It will be differently. So I will create 75. Yep. You know that right now I'm working only quarter of the geometry, and again the size will be 75. Yeah, it's a cube, yeah, I know, but we would like to make a cube defined by dimension 150. So right now we have the 75 per 75. The best practice for mirror feature is if you select base name in the model tree and you use the mirror geometry. Then you select the surface and finish. What the system create or count, the system will count whole model tree and really quickly create a mirror feature. I will continue, so mirror again and again mirror here. So right now at the beginning was only small cube, and if you make a couple of mirrors feature at the end, if I use the analysis, for example the length of the curve, our curve length is again 150. So it was some example how you can reuse the mirroring of the geometry, and I hope so that you will find again your difficult shape of your model, and you will create really nice and really quickly the mirror feature for you. Okay, let's continue. We would like to learn more, and we would like to create another feature, and I will start with fill. So if I will use the fill feature, it's a feature for surface modeling, and again we would like to use and really quickly create symmetric rectangle in the sketch. And fill feature means create base shape, confirm OK, and the system will create one surface for you. And for now, what we can do is not a problem. You can select that surface and specify the thickness. So what is really nice, you can specify the thickness 150, and I just create the cube again in totally different way. Okay. Here is the question, if you can reuse the fill feature again, but I don't want to use the thickness, so I will delete it. And I'd like to reuse existing quilt or surface, and I like to use the offset feature. So if I will use offset feature, the standard offset feature is that system will create only offsetted surface. But it's good because in the option tab it's possible to select create size surfaces, and then if you will specify the thickness offset 150, the system will create for us again surface model. And again, what we need to do, or what we need to select, is create the quilts, and then we have to use the merge feature. And if you have a one object, one quilt, you can use the solidify and confirm. And again, you can see that we have really quickly create the cube definite by offset feature, merge, and solidify. And right now I just think about how we can continue and how we can create another cube. What about revolve feature? It's a strange, you would like to ask me. It's possible to create the cube with revolve feature. Yes, we can continue and we can have a look how to do it. So at the first, I will create the sketch, and this sketch I would like to reuse for our another shape. And for example, I will create the symmetrical rectangle here. Dimension will be again 150, it will be fine. And what we can do here, I will create directly in the sketch the center line. So you know that if the sketch includes center line, and if you right now use the revolve feature, the system will automatically create the feature based on the internal center line. That's good. So I don't want to create I don't want to use the angle 360 degree. I would like to use only 90 degree. That's good. Perfect. And then we would like to continue, and I miss some axis. If you would like to reuse the same sketch one more time but on the opposite side, it will be a little bit strange, but I would like to show you that it's possible to sometimes create a strange feature. Yeah, so I will create an axis directly here between two datum planes. Yeah, have a look here. The system will create for me the axis, and this axis I like to reuse for as axis of revolution. So again, you can move it in the model tree, and I like to again use the sketch one for the revolve feature, but I don't want to use the internal axis. Yeah, I like to use this one. So right now you can see here the system creates for me automatically the cut, but I don't want to use and create cut. I like to add material here. Okay, so it looks almost. So right now you can see that we have a 2 revolve feature in the model tree, and what we need to do is to create a patch or surface for replacement. I will show you what I mean. So I will continue with the fill feature. For fill feature, I need to create the sketch plane, and sketch plane has to be on the top of the edge. So you can create that you would like to create a plane on the fly, and you can select some references. So for example, I would like to create datum plane through this point and that curve. And if I will continue with the fill feature, I will define the shape a little bit bigger like the original one. Yeah, so you can see here that right now we have a geometry on the top, and we can select that surface and use the offset function. But you don't want to offset existing geometry, you would like to replace by this fill quilt. And look here, right now I just finished really quickly, and again I just create the cube and base it on the 2 revolve feature and some another possibility how to work and create the fill and offset features. I hope so that you like this example. It was a little bit strange but quite nice. And what about next? We would like to create some geometry, base it on the pattern features. So we need to create again some geometry. Yeah, so how to continue? We can create, for example, I don't know, the extrude feature defined by this over here, and some center line, and I will create only straight line. This straight line will be length of 150 and the offset value. Yeah, that's good. The system will automatically jump that from solid model will jump the surface, and again we can set the symmetrical side and some dimension for the offset. So we have the first side, and what I miss here again is the axis for the pattern feature. So if you select 2 datum planes, the system will create for us the axis. You know, it is the possibility to move, and if you would like to make a pattern of that feature, it's really easy and use axis. It's really similar to previous example, and what we need to do again is use the boundary blend and then merge feature. Yeah. So it's really good practice if you work with surfaces. If you have a look here, and this is set to quilt, and you can set the quilts. Yeah. And what we need to do is merge these quilts and then make a solidify. So again, it was another example how to create a surface, use a pattern of that surfaces, and then make some another surfaces based on the boundary blend and merge and solidify feature. And what about the scaling model? What I mean? Okay, so how to really quickly create the cube. Just go to freestyle, and in the shape mode you can select the cube. Yeah, the system will create the cube really quickly for you and only finish. But you said, okay, but I don't know the size because it's a freestyle. You don't care, because you can use the analysis feature and check the actual length of the curve. And you can see here that I can copy this information. and I will use the operation scale model, and I will ask you what is our final size for the cube. It's the 150 millimeters. Okay, so set 150 and divide by dimension of existing cube. If you confirm OK, the system will change the cube, and you can have a look here. The size of the cube is again 150. So whoops, perfect. It's a surface model, so you need to jump to solidify and confirm, and we just really quickly create the cube based on the freestyle modeling. Perfect. And what about next? You know that it's possible to create extrude feature, but sometimes you specify your shape really quickly and you set some dimensions. So for example, I will set this dimension will be only 150, but size will be only 75. Okay, it was base idea that I would like to try to create the brick based on these dimensions, and then somebody tell me, oh, Vladimir, can you change these dimensions and extend this shape? I said, okay, what we can do is use a warp feature. If I would like to use the warp feature, I like to extend this solid geometry, and you can see here over there is a lot of options, and really nice one is the stretch. In which side I like to stretch, I will change the orientation. Yeah, you can have a look here. You can change the orientation by selection, and what we need to do, we need to scale it 2 times because the original size was 75. So if I will finish again, if I will use the analysis, this length is 150, another one are 150. So again, we just created the cube based on the warp feature. And another question, do you think so that is possible to create a cube based on the copy and paste function? Yeah, I think that is possible, so we can try. And for example, I will create again extrude feature based on the surface modeling. So let's continue and create some geometry and specify some values. Yeah, okay, perfect. And I would like to continue symmetrically and dimension 150. Yeah, okay, perfect. And here is the question that I just created the extrude feature, and this extrude feature we can copy and paste around the axis or edge. So I just select extrude feature, I will use the copy function, and I would like to paste this object, but I don't want to paste it directly. I'd like to use the paste special, and we would like to apply and move. So select this function, okay, and the system asks me how we would like to move or rotate. So at the beginning, I'd like to rotate around that edge, and the size will be 90 degrees. Perfect. Okay, we can go one more time. Copy, paste special, move and rotate around, and dimension will be like this. So you can see, use the minus 90 degree and finish. Or we can continue, or we would like to continue, copy and paste special, move and rotate, and just now I'd like to move it here, and the size is 150. Yeah. What we can do again, this extrude feature I can copy, paste special, and apply and move. Okay, so right now we can have a look here, and set the value, and it's okay. And again, copy and paste special, apply and move. So be careful what you select and how the system will add the material. Yeah, so 90 degrees enough, sorry, and continue. Perfect. So in the model tree, I just used some copy and paste function and the cube is done already. And what we can do is select all these features and use the merge function and then solidify. Okay, so it was another example that we can really easy use the existing geometry, use the function copy and paste special. Okay, so another example, we would like to continue with the combination of the extrude feature, copy and paste function, and some merge. So have a look here. So I just want to continue and create again some geometry. And for example, we will create some dimension 20. Yep. What we can do and create, we can create a datum plane 75, and I think about how to create it in the best way. Give me a second. I will specify this datum plane directly from datum plane, so it will be much better, because right now I'd like to make a mirror feature of the extrude feature directly about the datum feature DTM1. So what is it good that if I will use the analysis and I will try to make a merge dimensions, the distance is 150. Measure, no merge. Yeah, so that's good. And right now I'd like to show you how you can create the cube based on some solid models and some boundary blends. So you can have a look here that right now it's a solid model. It's almost done, but we would like to continue, and I will select for the boundary blend all edges. So if you select the first one and then with shift button you select the surface, the system will create and select the loop. So this is the first one, and I will continue with control button select another edge, and with shift button select the surface, and the system will create a surface loop. Right now you can have a look here, the system will spin it a little bit, but you can move that point to correct value and correct position. And right now our cube is defined by solid model and some surfaces. What we need to do, or what we can do, is select that quilt, and we can fill this quilt by solidify feature. And if I will finish it, and then if I will hide our boundary blend, it will be looks good and perfect. So you can see here that for solid modeling, you can combine solid modeling and surface modeling, use some curves and existing geometry, merge feature, solidify feature, and the system will finish your model like you need. Again, I show you this information on the cube, and in reality you can combine it on your geometry based on some difficult curves. But always you can use the one selection step by step for the boundary blend, or again with the loop function. You will see. And some special. Okay. I will again start from scratch. So for example, we would like to use the extrude feature, because sometimes your geometry looks like this. Yeah, so for example, I will create 2 lines and it will be symmetrical shape and basic dimension 150. Yeah, perfect. And if I will finish, I just want to set the value 150, and we would like to create a solid geometry, and the thickness will be, for example, 20. And where we would like to go from the sketch, I'd like to go to inside, no symmetrically, but inside. That's good. So our dimensions, or our base dimension, is 150. I will show you here. Yeah, analyze this, length, and that curve 150, 150, and 150. And we would like to close it. So we know that it's possible create some curves and boundary blend, but maybe we would like to create a rip. Okay, so we can create a profile rip. And for profile rip, you can select the references here. So it was really good and really quickly. And we can create only straight line. Yeah, perfect. It was good. And what the system do? If I will create a profile rip, I would like to go not symmetrically, but on the inside. So, and the depth will be 150. Whoops, it was strange to create a cube based on the L profile and profile rip, but it's working. So it's something that if you need to create a patch, you can do and combine some information and the system will create for you. In this tutorial, I'll show you some special features and some special combination, but you never know. You can combine and create some similar shape like this. And what about shell feature? Okay, I will continue with shell feature and will be a little bit strange, because by shell feature I will create and delete almost every surfaces from existing cube, and you can go the opposite way and set some dimensions. So you can see here that from original cube I just use the shell feature and the system create for me the cube. And in the model tree you can see here there is some really bad combination. If somebody would like to repair it for you, or you would like to hide the information for your colleague how you create it, is no problem. You can select the features and then you can use the collapse. And if you use the collapse, the system will recreate this object like important geometry. And if somebody would like to edit it, they need to create import data doctor and try to understand how to use it. Okay, import data doctor is a different part of the tutorial, and I hope so that I will try to find some really good model for understanding, or for your better understanding how to use the import data doctor. So the collapse function, or how to hide your know-how, was the last example of the 17 ways how to create a cube. I hope so that you like this video tutorials, and stay in touch. Vladimir, bye bye.